Hello and welcome everyone to another one of my mindful conversations. Thank you everyone for listening, giving feedback, because I love the feedback. It helps drive my purpose of what this mindful conversation podcast is all about. Now you'll notice with me today is Lisa, and you're gonna be just totally in awe with everything that she is going to share with you. And if you're wondering, how did I meet Lisa? I've been following her on Instagram, and she has this powerful message, and I'm like, okay, I got to have Lisa. So I reached out, as you all know, I reached out and I said, Lisa, I want you part of my podcast. So Lisa lives by the same passion that I have, to inspire people every single day, just to empower yourself, not feel overwhelmed, not let the fear and anxiety take over your self-worth and lead you to where you don't want to be. And Lisa has this amazing podcast herself. She has a TV show. She has a global radio show host, actually. And she's has these amazing guests. I encourage you to go check out her podcast, which you'll find all the information, as always, on the bottom. So thank you, Lisa, for being here today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation and you sharing your insightful passion and what led you to this point in your life. So Lisa, if you could please share with our listeners today, our greater audience, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you very much for such a warm, gracious opening there. You're lovely. And I really applaud you for all that you're doing in terms of paying it forward, being of service, and getting the message out there to the collective in the way that's unique and signature to you. You're doing phenomenal things.
Thank you so much.
And super honored and grateful to be here. And I can't wait for us to reverse the role here and you be on my show and I get to ask all the questions and put you in the hot seat. So this is lovely. So to answer your first question, yes, my whole brand is Living Fearlessly with Lisa McDonald. I do wear a lot of hats as a serial solopreneur. My number one role and passion in life is being mother to my two beautiful children. Everything I do for them. And so, yeah, once upon a time, 25 years ago, I was in social services. I scaled very quickly from being a frontline worker to senior manager / director in social services, specifically crisis management. So I was always, once upon a time, I was always immersed in personal growth, personal development, because, to be that first point of contact for people who are in crisis, you really have to have done the work on yourself, which is an ongoing, continual process. And when you're training staff and you're trying to get behind whatever the particular mission statement is, you really have to walk your talk. So fast forward to 2011/12, I got exceptionally clear about how I could take my message of living fearlessly with Lisa McDonald to a broader global audience, just due to a change of dynamics in my situation at the time, and really that being birthed out of a reinvention process. So, I've been very, very grateful, the people that have continuously shown up in my life, people who have been mentors, coaches, peers, colleagues, vibe attracts tribe. We've talked about that extensively. So it's just been phenomenal. I'm very grateful that I get to do what I love, and I love what I do. And I truly believe, based on the feedback, the gracious feedback that I've received, that, the message is getting out there and it's landing, and it's really about uplifting you to fear less and to live more.
Definitely. And something jumped out at me, and I had to write it down, that you worked on reinventing yourself. And the reason why that jumped out at me, Lisa, is because we have this fear that we have to stay on the structured road, and we have a fear of listening to our gut, and we have a fear of not changing our current situation. And I love that I feel, listen to what your inner voice was telling you.
Yes.
And you said, you know what? I hear you. It is scary in a way, but I feel I need to reinvent myself, and I'm just going to go for it. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Strong message, because you speak to so many people and they face it all the time, but they're so hesitant And it's what if, what if, what if? Well, you know what? That what if is not allowing you to raise that inner power. And yeah, it's not, we're not going to lie, right? It is going to be a roller coaster ride. And
Of
sometimes you hit
course.
this roadblock, you think, oh my gosh, what did I do? Right?
Absolutely.
But the way you come more powerful out on the other side, you know that you yourself
Mm-hmm.
did what you felt you need to do, and now look at the doors that's open, and you're living your dream, you're living your life. So thank you so much for sharing that. And that really rolls nicely, Lisa, into the idea of what allows you to thrive and live with passion and do what you do.
Well, a lot of people, I have a different belief than a lot of other people. A lot of people think that their purpose is defined or created based on passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that the people who are so-called most successful or really integral with themselves in terms of knowing what their identified, clearly defined purpose is when you've had enough pain. When
Yeah.
you've had enough pain and you've got to figure out the solution, that very quickly will tap you into the trajectory of what your passion or purpose is. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then within that, that's where passion shows up. Because when you realize that for whatever it is that you are feeling tripped up about, or you're feeling impeded or immobilized by fear,
Mm-hmm.
specifically, because I believe fear is the common denominator at the crux of what makes a yummy
Mm-hmm.
life
Yeah,
or what keeps people entrenched in the rabbit hole.
definitely.
Um, so I think, when you have had enough of pain, when you've had enough of victimology, when you've had enough of this isn't working for me and it's the same story day in, day out, and then before you know it, it turns into potentially decades of your life. When you realize that this is wasted time, wasted energy, it's like you've got to then be receptive to what can I do differently? What do I because we don't know what we don't know. So who do I need to align myself
Yeah.
with? What are the types of thoughts, educational pieces, content, etc., that's going to align with me and propel me in the direction of where I say I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all go through at various junctures within our lives. We go through reinvention processes, and I feel also within my experience of working closely with my mentoring and coaching clients and my own life experience that I can speak to first and foremost, it's when I've neglected to listen to myself, when I keep trying to press the mute button on what's really going on inside of me, then before you know it, that little whisper becomes like raging.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
it gets to the point where you can't turn it off. You can't
Yeah.
dismiss it. You no longer can ignore it.
Yeah.
And when I started to tap into that and pay attention to that, and consistently so, not just when I felt like it, but
Mm-hmm.
when I plowed through it, that's when I could thank myself. And my future self is always thanking myself in hindsight 2020 situations, because I've stayed the course and I've stayed true to myself, even if I didn't know all the answers or what things were going to look like on
Yeah.
the end of it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's just trudging on to that unknown, right? And
Absolutely.
and it's when you said that, there's these pain that we all go through, and I feel that's a lot of times people, or women specifically, are afraid of that pain, or
Hmm.
um, well, I don't want to go there, but you you end up coming out stronger on the
Hmm.
other side.
Hmm.
And the fact that, I talk about this all this time with women all the time, whether it be in groups or one-on-one, that you have this inner voice.
Hmm.
And when you ignore it and
Hmm.
ignore it, it becomes stronger until it explodes.
Yes.
So instead of ignoring it, acknowledge it and say, I hear you.
Hmm.
Whether this is self-talk, negative self-talk, is I
Hmm.
hear you, but I'm not going to let it control my life. I'm going to
Hmm.
move forward. So do you, like,
Well,
are you embrace that, or?
well,
Yeah,
my belief is that it's ultimately counterintuitive to stifle that inner voice.
yeah.
Whatever it is that starts out as a whisper, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we just know intuitively when something feels off, or when
Mm-hmm.
something doesn't feel right, or
Yeah.
when something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so the longer we deny these things, or we suppress these things, or we choose to ignore these things, then we get into these cyclical patterns
Mm-hmm.
where we feel like, I'm I'm not getting anywhere, and I'm not
Yeah.
getting anywhere faster and faster and faster
Yeah.
because I keep refusing to take heed of what it is I actually should be taking, be mindful of, and what I should
Mhm.
be cognizant of, and what I should be responding to. And so when I look back on my life, the times that I have like gone astray,
Mhm.
or when I've been disappointed in myself, or whatever the adjective is that you want to use to describe that, it's when I have neglected my inner voice. It's when I've
Mm.
neglected my intuition. And
Yeah.
so now that I continue to consistently honor that,
Mhm.
um, then it's momentous growth, rapid
Yeah.
growth all the
Yeah.
time. And it's the yumminess that continually shows up, which puts me here being interviewed by you. Because
Yeah.
if I didn't believe in myself,
Yeah.
and that's the core.
Yeah.
You've got to believe in yourself regardless of who else doesn't or doesn't see the vision that you hold
Exactly.
for yourself.
Exactly. Believe in yourself.
Yes.
That is huge, right? Because we doubt ourselves so often. And
Yes.
there's so many influences
Mm-hmm.
around us, and
Mm-hmm.
it can even be your own family members. They're worried for you. And it's like, no, I'm believing in myself. And I know you
Mm-hmm.
believe in me, but it's that I believe in myself. I
Mm-hmm.
know where I need to be, and I'm going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
And, do you find too that it doesn't how do we say it doesn't happen overnight? It's a continuous journey all the time, every day. That we're always boggled by outside influences. We're always these negative mindsets,
Mm-hmm.
occasionally come in.
Absolutely.
And you find too, because people come to me, Lisa, and they say, "Oh, but you're so positive, and you see the world different, and you're just going for it." And I let them know. I said, "You know what? I have struggles too,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a journey that's been for 25 years, and it's not going to stop, right?"
Absolutely. Well,
And yeah,
yeah, so a few simultaneous thoughts came to me as you were saying that,
yeah,
which I think is very important to impress upon your listening audience here,
definitely.
is, you can't, this is my belief again,
Yeah,
I don't believe you can effectively and authentically show up for other people if you've opted and
yeah,
elected not to do that first and foremost for yourself.
yeah.
So when we're in the sphere of what it is we do as coaches, as mentors, as podcasters, as people who are immersed in personal growth, personal development,
Mm-hmm,
if we don't support our own goals or our
mm-hmm,
own vision, how can we
mm-hmm,
get behind authentically doing that for anyone
mm-hmm.
else who pays us,
Yeah,
or shows up for
mm-hmm,
us because
yeah,
they've shown up for themselves? So
exactly.
results don't lie.
No,
Results don't lie. So, I mean, to the degree that you believe in yourself and to the
yeah,
degree that you're committed to ongoingly doing the work,
yeah.
the results will continue to show up.
Yeah.
I
And
believe
it's,
that.
yeah. And it's opening yourself up, right? It's like you mentioned,
Absolutely.
we just connected through a mutual person we know. Then it's amazing how you end up having these connections. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, you're brought to somebody for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
or someone reaches out to you for a reason. It doesn't happen by chance, right?
Well, I don't
There's
believe in coincidences, and
Yeah,
I
no,
always go on record as saying that. I believe
yeah,
in synergies, I believe in
yeah,
synchronicities, and I
yeah.
believe in alignment.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, because a lot of people doubt it, and they wonder, like, it's woohoo, right? Because I hear that. That's kind of strange. It's like, no, it's true. You just need to open your mind
Mm-hmm.
and what I call the universe. Some people are uncomfortable.
Me
So
too.
yeah, and open yourself to what is out there. When you when
Mm-hmm.
you when you see the signs, acknowledge them. When you feel things, it's there for a reason. So open up your mind, open up your heart. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, that's when a shift, that's when you allow yourself to believe, and when this beautiful shift occurs.
Right.
And it's a whole new world, right? And
Yeah.
I find until you open yourself up to that, we're stuck. But when you
Well,
walk through
and
that
that's
door,
that's an
yeah,
important point, because I
yeah,
think that people who have an inclination to continuously rebuff this. Okay, it's
yeah,
not woo woo. I strongly believe in the
yeah,
law of attraction. What
yeah,
you emit is what transmits out there, and then
mm-hmm,
synergistically it comes back like the boomerang effect. So it's
mm-hmm,
either positive or it's alternative. And the people
mm-hmm,
who I believe have an inclination to dispel this, or to discredit it, are the ones who are oftentimes the most stuck, the
yeah,
most unhappy,
yeah,
the most unfulfilled, and not at all joy filled or purpose driven at all.
bingo. You nailed it. You nailed it. Thank you. Now, There are some other questions I have for you.
Shoot.
And I would love to know that, you know, what you every day look at. Like, do you look at the positive things to yourself? Do you focus on the negative things, or do you focus on the positive things in your life? Because, you know, our audience is probably saying, wow, Lisa's filled with such insight. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how does it come to her? Right? How
Well,
does it? Yeah.
if I focused on negativity, I would not be on your show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
I focus on my blessings. I
Mm.
focus on solutions. I'm a very solution-oriented, solution-focused person. I'm not at all problem-saturated. I believe there's always an answer. It doesn't matter if it's not in your wheelhouse of expertise, or
Mm-hmm.
how do I, resourcefulness is the number, and Tony Robbins talks about this.
Yeah.
Resourcefulness is the number one resource. So once you
Mm-hmm.
figure out what you don't know, figure out who to align with, the people who in fact
Mm-hmm.
do, who can save you a lot of heartache, save you a lot of wasted time and energy, and
Mm-hmm.
get you going in the direction that you need to get going in, if you're really
Nice.
serious about what it is you're doing or what you're endeavoring to do.
Nice.
So I'm grateful. I mean, yes, we all have problems. I mean, I'm a single mom. How can people think on any level that my life would be easy, juggling
Mm-hmm.
my career and juggling two children?
Yeah.
I don't wear that. I don't wear that badge of I'm a single mom, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, sometimes people, what they glean from social media, particularly, they think
Mm-hmm.
everything's a resounding yes or a bullseye or an instantaneous overnight success. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you
No.
people, it's absolutely not. Like,
It's not.
it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people will only, people are committed to understanding you from the degree of what their filter is. Or
Mm-hmm.
so if people, like the naysayers or the critics or the
Mm-hmm.
people who think everything is la-di-da in your life,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't pay attention to those
No.
people.
No.
I really don't pay attention to those people, and I don't
Yeah.
have to qualify my decisions with anyone. I'm
No.
very confident in
Mm-hmm.
my decision making.
Yeah.
And I know at the crux of it what my priorities are and who the priority is, in terms of being able to quite comfortably rationalize and
Mm-hmm.
justify and soundly proceed in my decision making on a day in, day out basis.
Nice. Being authentic, right? Being authentic
Absolutely.
from the heart. Now, Lisa, where can people find you? And I'm going to post it below this conversation as well, but where can people find you? Your social media sites, websites?
Sure, I appreciate
Yeah.
the question. So I'm
Yeah.
all over social media, as most of us are these days. So LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform, because
Nice.
it's a lot of other entrepreneurs, like-minded people. It's business oriented,
Mm-hmm.
purpose-driven people. Not to say that anybody who utilizes other sites or has a different preference than me doesn't fit that criteria. Not at
Mm-hmm.
all. That's just my personal preference. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got a few different Facebook pages.
Yeah.
My radio show rolls out every Friday. I'm with two global networks, so C-Suite Radio Network as well as the Contact Talk Radio Network. You can find me on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, iTunes, Podchaser, FeedBlitz, list goes on. And my website is livingfearlesslywithlisa.com. My email address is lisa@livingfearlesslywithlisa.com. And my phone number, because I publicly put that out there too, is 289-684-7707. I'm in Canada.
Lovely. And if you haven't listened to any one of Lisa's podcasts, I encourage you to go to her site and listen to her podcast, because it's amazing the messages that are shared. You'll just come out of there like so uplifted. I haven't listened to all because there's so many, but the ones that I've listened to, your conversation that you have on with your guests,
Lovely.
it speaks to the heart, right? You're like,
Thank you.
wow, I love it. Especially when
Yeah.
especially with something that's like, oh my God, that's so true. Like the one who talked about the angels and all. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And yes, they pop in your life, and they're there, right, for a reason. So
Absolutely.
you got to listen to them. Now, upon our conversation coming slowly to a close, Lisa, there's 3 questions I ask every guest, and I would like to ask them of you as well. There's tons of quotes out there, as we know, but what is one quote, Lisa, that you absolutely love and live by?
I'll start with my own.
Yeah, that's good.
Because, again, it's my purpose. So
Yeah.
uplifting you to fear less, to live more. Second one that I also cite is be your own hero, be your own shiro, be
Mm,
your own leader, be your own best friend, because it is an internal
nice.
journey.
Yeah.
All starts with self. Um, Another one that pops to mind, there's just so many, but another one that pops to mind is there's a reason why your windshield is larger than your rear view mirror. Right? Because if you're
Mm,
forward thinking, forward facing, you're not looking back in the past. You're
yeah.
not going in that direction.
Yeah.
Um, Geez, I can't think of any other off the top of my head. There's just so many. Anything that's positive,
Yeah.
anything that's introspective, anything that makes you delve a little bit deeper to extrapolate underlying truths, because I think there's multiple meanings to anything in the English language, and I always
Mm,
prefer to go deeper.
yeah.
But in terms of different quotes of who's birthed it, that really resonates with me,
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, Martin Luther King, many of the guests who I've showcased on radio. The list
Mhm.
is endless, really. Brian
Sure.
Tracy, Jack Canfield, Dr. Wayne Dyer, right? Deepak
Yeah.
Chopra. The
Yeah.
list is endless. I
It
mean,
is.
it really is.
Yeah, it is. It is endless. I mean, everyone that you've had on, whether it be your TV or your podcast, is there's always more than one guest you have on that is going to resonate with someone, and that
Mm,
there's always a message that somebody needs to hear. So again, everybody out there, listen to her podcast, watch
thank
her
you.
shows. It's
You're
amazing.
lovely.
I
Thank
speak
you.
the truth. It's the truth. And what is the number one advice that you want to share today with our audience?
Well, again, it's not. I'm not here to plug myself per
Yeah.
se, but it really is: be your own hero, be
Hmm.
your own shiro, be your own leader, be your own best friend, because you are here, up
Hmm.
here, 24/7. I don't care how in tune or supportive your significant other is, or your
Hmm.
great relationships you have within your smaller circles. If everybody were to walk out of your life today and you
Hmm.
are ultimately left with yourself to handle and deal with,
Hmm.
you've got to make sure that you're okay up here, and you've got to talk to yourself as positively and as constructively and as intuitively as what you would to anybody else who's coming to you with perhaps a problem, or they're in crisis or whatnot. You just got to be good with yourself, get comfortable with yourself, and don't, people feel like they've got to fill up their time all the time, like time fillers, and I just don't
Oh,
get that. I
no.
need to decompress, and to write the content and have
Yeah.
my continuous output of content. I need an exorbitant amount of time, solitude wise, in
Yeah.
which to just recalibrate,
Yeah.
decompress, and get the creative juices flowing again. So enjoy
Definitely.
your own company, people, and
Yeah.
truly believe in yourself, and do
Yeah.
not get railroaded by fear.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to just spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
Even 5 minutes is better than zero, right? And it's so true.
Yeah.
People want to be busy all the time, but they're never finding time to just stop and catch
hmm
your breath and tune into what are you
It's
feeling?
it's
How are you
escapism.
feeling?
I see that
Yeah.
as a form of escapism. Like
Yeah.
people who feel like they have to totally fill up their social calendar,
Mm,
or they've got to like be on the phone all the time, or I've
mm,
just had one visitor left or leave. I've got to go.
yeah.
To me, that's a telltale sign. Even if it's operating within the sphere of subconsciousness,
Hmm.
people are trying to escape themselves.
Yeah. We need to take moments.
Many moments,
Many
many.
moments. Yes, many moments. Exactly. Now, last question, and the one of my favorite questions, actually, and I get a feeling I know what you're going to say, but if this was the last day of your life and you cannot choose family as your answer,
Oh boy.
what would you, Lisa, be grateful for?
I would be grateful for everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the failures, the successes, every single person who has played a pivotal role in my life, whether
Mm,
it be, whether these people are tangibly in my life today or not. Just the gift of life, because to be here is a miracle within
mhm,
itself. And I'm one who tries to maximize every waking moment, because I understand that nothing is guaranteed. The rest of today is not guaranteed. all the minutes remaining in this exact hour are not guaranteed. And so if this were my last day on the planet, I want to make sure that I'm expending my energies always. I mean, gratitude precedes everything in my life.
Yeah. Wow. And listeners, as you know, I'm very intuitive. So as soon as Lisa took this deep breath, whew, I felt this energy come to me. Got very lightheaded and I got tingly. So that answer, Lisa, to me was very authentic, and it spoke from a place beyond inside of you. Like, it was powerful. I just had to share that with you. It's like, whoa, this is beyond just feeling my heart there. It is deep what you just, so I feel that is a very deep thought that you came.
And as kind as that is, and I know we got to wrap up here, as kind as that it always shocks me when again, as kind as that is for that to have been your reaction and your feedback to my response, why are we not all living like that? I don't get that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. Oh my gosh.
I don't understand. I mean, when you think of some people who, and it's not to negate that we all have our own individual problems, but there's something out there too, name-wise, that it's like, if everybody were to throw their own individual problems into a circle and took a look at some of the magnitude of what other people have gone through, people would probably want to pull their own problems back and go, okay, it's not as bad as what I thought.
Yeah. And it's true, right? You need to, it begins with being grateful every day. People are forgetting to be grateful. And I always enhance and talk about one thought is better than nothing. Whether, you woke up today, oh my gosh, like you said, you're living another day. How great is that, right?
Yeah.
The sun is shining today. Like, you have eyes to see with, you have ears to hear with. People are forgetting those. Get back to the basic, get to simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. And I have people say, oh, well, can I write the same thing in my gratitude every day? Yeah, you can, right? But you need to truly feel it from the heart and not just write it. And I find that when if there's a day I do not get around to writing my gratitude journal, I still send out to the universe. But for me personally, when I write it down, and again, this is a personal thing, I just feel it has more power to me. And when I really make a practice at it, it's amazing how something that might seem terrible to one person is like, you know what, it could always be worse, right? It could always be worse. So Lisa, on that closing, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here.
You're lovely.
Same with you. It's like I said, everyone's got to check out Lisa's stuff. She is amazing. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you here, Lisa, because I know there's people that haven't discovered you for yet, but they will after they watch this. And I really feel strongly that we were connected through a mutual someone we know for a reason. And everybody out there, right? Feel that when someone comes to you for whatever reason you're wondering, feel that connection between you, because you can be a support for each other, right? And I feel the messages you shared here today are so important, and again, enhancing what I believe in. Having you believe in the same thing, similar things is very powerful. And I thank you that you're sharing your wisdom and what you believe in with the greater world. So as always, everybody who's listening, you know what I'm going to say. Before you go to bed tonight, as you lie in bed and relax, think about the best thing that happened today. And when you wake up in the morning, think about or write it down 1 to 5 things you are grateful for. Because when you feel that gratitude, when you believe in it, amazing things will come to you. Yes. So everybody out there,
no coincidence to that.
No coincidence. That's right.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you,
everyone.
Keeping you. You're lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, again, for listening to another one of my Mindful Conversations. Go ahead down below. You know what to do. Share it, comment, tag a friend, share it with somebody who really needs to hear today's messages, because you and I both know there's somebody out there. Have a wonderful day. Feel proud of yourself and love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.